What's up, guys? So today we just wanted to talk about setting realistic expectations versus unrealistic expectations. So what can you expect to do in a week, in a month, in a year, over the long term? Basically how to avoid the disappointment of expecting to be able to do this when doing it the right way only gets you this far, and that learning that that's okay.
A lot of people struggle with this, I think, because they see other people progressing fast and they think that they should be seeing results really, really fast, and maybe even a month in, they should be having all of these strength gains and being jacked and shredded and lean. And in reality, it's gonna take a lot longer than that, even if you are being consistent. So we're just gonna kind of go over what is realistic, what is unrealistic, and what you should focus on.
So right off the bat, a client may be looking to lose 5 pounds a week if they're trying to lose fat, or if they want to gain muscle, they might be looking at 10 pounds of muscle per month. But if you do things that quickly, they're not going to be efficient results. So weight loss, if you're trying to lose weight that fast, you're going to lose a lot of muscle along in the process. If you're trying to gain weight and trying to put muscle on really fast, it's not going to happen that quickly. So if your weight's going up that quickly, you're putting on a lot more fat than you need to be.
And that's when you see a lot of people who are yo-yo dieters, or they do these crazy diets that are fad diets, and they end up losing a lot of weight really fast, but then they end up gaining all of that back and maybe a little bit more. So it's just not sustainable to move that quickly when it comes to fat loss or muscle gain. And obviously our goal with all of our clients and what we preach to all of our followers is that you want to make this your lifestyle. You want this to be sustainable. You don't want to be constantly jumping back and forth.
On top of it not even being sustainable, you're not going to be able to show your best bang for your buck at the end of the day anyway. Because when you're burning the muscle, losing weight too fast, or putting on a lot of fat, you're going to go through this period of time where you think you've had all these crazy results because the scale says that. But when you're looking at the pictures, you didn't put on that much muscle, you didn't lose that much fat, and your body doesn't look as good as it should for what the numbers are telling you.
And this also applies to a performance standpoint too. A lot of you guys follow us, you're performance athletes, whether you do CrossFit or weightlifting or powerlifting. Maybe you're not so focused on your aesthetics like a bodybuilder would be, or the general person trying to look better. But this does apply to your performance too, because a lot of people expect to put 50 pounds on their squat in a month, or double their squat 1 rep max in 12 weeks. And that's just not realistic either as a natural athlete. So you have to keep that in mind. Yes, in the beginning, you're gonna see a lot of newbie gains, they're called. So as a beginner lifter, it's normal to see big jumps in your PRs like that, but as you get to be an intermediate or advanced lifter, that's gonna slow down, and you have to kind of brace yourself for that because it's gonna happen eventually.
So realistically, if you're looking at 10 pounds on a lift per month, that's a really good month. If you jumped up that much in a single month, that's awesome. If you think about that over the course of a year, which you're probably not gonna jump 10 pounds a month for a year consistently, that's 120 pounds, that's ridiculous. So when you look at it in a long-term perspective, I know we don't like to do that because 10 pounds isn't sexy, but when you look at something like that in that kind of perspective, that really is a solid month. Now, again, like you said, if you're a new lifter, you're gonna see some crazy gains right off the bat, but you need to be able to acknowledge that those aren't gonna last the entire time. So take advantage of them while you got them, hit it hard while you can, doing things the right way, but understand that once it slows down, you're not getting worse, you're just adapting to the process, and those newbie gains start to fade.
And if you're confused as what I mean by newbie gains, if you are completely new to lifting weights in general, you're a newbie. So I would say, I'm not trying to say that in a bad way, but what, a year or less you've been lifting would be a beginner. So this applies to people too who maybe you're someone who does the fitness classes, or you do, I don't even know what they're called anymore, but you do a lot of the high rep classes with very light weights, and then all of a sudden you want to start doing powerlifting, for example. You're going to experience newbie gains even though you've been doing lightweight lifting for 5 years. So think about it that way. By a lifter, I mean somebody who is using weights that they are progressively overloading over a period of time.
So getting into what's realistic, as far as aesthetics, you can look at 1% per week for body weight. So just make it easy. Say you weigh 100 pounds, I'm just making the math easy, gaining or losing 1 pound per week. Anything beyond that, you're sacrificing muscle while you're doing it. If you're trying to gain weight, you're just putting on too much fat in the process. So it doesn't, again, it's not sexy, it doesn't sound great, but keeping things slow like that are maintainable. And they're things where you're actually, over the longer period of time, you're gonna look a whole lot better if you gain 15 pounds over the course of a year, honestly, as opposed to someone who put 15 pounds on in the course of 3 months. So not sexy, but realistic, and it's gonna look great at the end of the day. You're gonna have a lot more bang for your buck when you're looking at the final pictures.
And that 1%, I would say, could be adjusted a little bit. If you're very overweight, maybe you're classified as obese, you can lose a little bit more weight per week just because you're a little bit bigger. If you're somebody who's maybe underweight and you're trying to gain weight, it's okay to gain maybe 2% or a little bit more than that 1% a week. It is highly individual, but we say 1% for the most
general rule of thumb.
Yeah. And then another thing I wanted to bring up also is that you shouldn't really be comparing yourself to everyone that you see on social media. Maybe you have people that you look up to. You know, I get comments like, you wear goals, I want to look like your body all the time. And I did a whole other video on this that I'll link if you guys want to watch that. But keep in mind that a lot of the people that you see that are famous Fitspos or famous powerlifters or whatever the case may be, maybe they're a bodybuilder, you don't know what they're doing. You don't know how much they're sacrificing in their life. You don't know what they're taking. You don't know what maybe they're training 4 or 5 hours a day. You really don't know. You're seeing their highlight reel on social media. So it's not really fair to compare yourself to them when you're obviously different people and you just don't know what they're doing. So keep that in mind. The only person you should be comparing yourself to is you.
When you're comparing yourself versus yourself, you're looking at yourself from today versus last week versus last month versus last year. So if you're consistent with everything we just mentioned, you're gonna see crazy results. It might not be crazy on paper, but the transformation is gonna be drastic. We've literally had clients have incredible transformations over the course of a couple months. Even if their body weight hasn't changed, they've completely changed their body composition. So if you go through our Instagram, any kind of our social media.
I'll post some pictures up here for you guys so you could see what we're talking about.
But we've had some over the course of 2 months be within a couple pounds of their last body weight, and their body looks completely different. It's awesome. So you can't just go by, oh, what's the scale saying this morning? You have to go by, you know, outside perspectives, the friends you haven't seen in a while, how your clothes are fitting, you know, paying attention to your body composition, which is why we highly recommend for our clients, even if they don't share them with us, take weekly progress pictures, because over the course of time, that time lapse is going to be awesome to look back on, to see the little changes. You know, the course from 1 to 2 weeks isn't going to be, oh wow, that's crazy different. But you look at week 1 and week 4 and okay, that's pretty good. Weeks 1 and week 8, and that's really good. Weeks 1 and weeks 12, that's incredible. I've only lost 4 pounds, but my body looks completely different.
It's more common than you think. A lot of people get hung up on the scale, and we use the scale as a primary method with the progress pictures, but you have to remember the scale is only one method. It's showing you your relationship with gravity, and it's not showing you your muscle or your fat or your body composition. So yes, it's a great tool to use, but in conjunction with other tools too. So that's kind of all we wanted to say about unrealistic expectations. You obviously want to set the bar high for yourself, but you also want to be realistic with your goals too. You don't want to overshoot and just constantly be struggling to get to this point at a really fast pace and then feel like a failure when you don't get there. So it's okay to go slow. It's okay to view your goals as a lifestyle change.
We're not telling you to settle. We'll never tell you to settle for less than what you want to achieve. We're just telling you not to be disappointed with the process. Enjoy the process. Do the process the right way. Don't try to look for that magical fix, that quick fix, because it doesn't exist. You're going to be right back to where you started a month later, 2 months later. So stick to the process. Monitor it from different angles, pictures, clothes, use a scale as well, and then see where that takes you in the long term.
All right, we'll catch you guys in the next video. Thanks for watching. Bye.